Well, welcome everybody to another weekly chat with Peace Lutheran Church. Today we're going to talk about communications in the church, and I want to talk about this topic because one of the big things in our discipleship is that we are called to be a good news people who bring the good news. In fact, in Luke 4, when Jesus goes to the temple or to the synagogue, and he unrolls the scroll of Isaiah, and he reads this big long mission that he's going to bring good news to the poor and to the oppressed and to the downtrodden. And I think about what it means to be a good news people in this world. And so a big part of who we are as the church is that we are bearers of the good news. And that means that we have to be able to communicate that to each other and to the world. And so today we're going to talk at some theoretical communications and what that might mean, and also some practical ways in which we are communicating here at Peace and how you might stay engaged with mission and ministry in the 21st century, here and now. So without further ado, I want to introduce our guest for the day. We have Deacon Darcy Mittelstaedt, and Darcy is a part of our congregation, and she also happens to work at the Southwestern Texas Synod over in Seguin as their communications person. So she's helped us do a lot of things here at our church, and she's helped launch a new website for us. So I want to welcome her and do a little bit of interviewing with her. So Darcy, welcome. You want to share anything about yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Pastor Jake. My name is Deacon Darcy Mittelstaedt, and I actually moved to Texas about 2 years ago from Arizona. I actually grew up in Nebraska, but I now serve on the Southwestern Texas Synod staff as Bishop's Associate for Faith Formation and Communications. I am a deacon in the ELCA rostered, just like Deacon Andrew, and help with the call process of deacons, as well as communications with the website and e-news that goes out weekly, and any other communications that get sent out from our office.
So I want to thank you so much for joining us today. And I wanted to ask you, Deacon Darcy, because you are so versed in this stuff, how have you seen communications change over the past few years, or even the past couple of decades? It's changed a lot. What does that look like in today's world?
Oh my goodness, the communication channels have totally widened the door in terms of digital communication. I remember when I started the process as a deacon back in the day, like 15 years ago or so, there wasn't very much communication via computer technology, and now it has just exploded. Everything seems to be all digital, whether it's social media, websites, podcasts, anything that is needing to be communicated out, it's all mainly digital. We do some phone calls and some texts, but mainly it's all through technology.
Yeah, and one of the things I've noticed is that for as much as we have a whole new wide range to communicate with, we have so many tools in our tool belt these days, it's almost as if there's communication overload because there's so many different channels in ways in which we're receiving information and almost flooded with it. So do you observe that? And if so, how do we combat that?
There is a wide variety of platforms and different channels that you can choose from and select. And a lot of it's all dependent upon the organization and even your personal way of how you communicate and how you receive communication. So a lot of times we have to figure out ways of how we can communicate better to the world, whether it's through a website, whether it's through social media, and what platforms, even on a computer. We're finding in the office of the bishop, the different platforms working to communicate within the office or even outside externally to everyone to keep people plugged in so that they get the information that they need in a timely fashion.
Yeah, and the same thing at Peace. We've tried to move to more weekly, like our weekly e-news. Ever since the pandemic too, we do a Wednesday e-news. It's more informational based. We do a Saturday one that goes out that's really more geared toward our worship for that weekend and what faith formation tools you might have to stay connected. We still do things like newsletters. Monthly newsletters is a snapshot of what we're doing so that you can look at a broader picture. But what I've observed is that people's schedules fill up fast now. people have a harder time committing because the world is so much faster and communication is lightning fast as well. And so now having all of these different mechanisms to reach out to people in a quicker way, in a more succinct way, has become just more and more critical, which is why I think we at the church are trying to make those steps. And I'm sure why the Synod has called you as a part of someone who specializes in communications is we're trying to do that better, and we need help in this day and age.
Yeah, and to also keep it as simple, because there's just so many varieties and ways, and people don't know what to choose from. So if we can tailor it down to a simple way and get it out to the folks, then it's easy for them to pick it up, read it, and get with the news that they need and put it on their calendars or whatever they need to hear.
Yeah, I agree with the simpler and more concise, because I know when I'm scrolling on Facebook now or social media, or even the news, and something doesn't catch my attention, I'll just scroll right past it. And so how do you get our message out? And I think of this from a church perspective, right? Talking about the good news, talking about Jesus in our world today, talking about being a voice of the church that has a really great message to share. But I mean, are people just scrolling by us? So how do we stay concise and on point to what really matters most, and have that vocabulary for the world?
And we have to keep in mind too our mission and our values as we are communicating that.
Yeah. Well, I'm grateful for all the work and the help that you've been working on here at Peace, and I know that you've helped us launch a new website this past couple of weeks. So I wanted to take the time to turn over the reins to you to give us some pointers and point out to some of the folks here that it might be new to them what our website is, what it's for, and what features it offers.
Absolutely. So let me go ahead and share my screen and move over to Peace Lutheran new website. So the website is still peacenb.org, and as you can see, it has a new look and new feel. But as all websites, it's the front door to your organization, so it's the front door to Peace Lutheran Church. You can see at the beginning, we have our logo at the top, and the logo will always be on every page. So you can always click this logo and it will take you back to the front page. And on the front page, we always have our tagline, the love God, love people, serve the world, and our worship service times. And because of the in-person gathering, we'll keep that up to date here. Anything as holidays come around, Christmas Eve will be coming around. We'll be having special services, I'm sure. All the information will be on the front page. Our COVID-19 updates will always have information here. And then whatever else is that's happening pertinent to that month, some news. At the bottom, we have where you can sign up for our weekly e-blast, as Pastor Jake has mentioned. You receive it on Wednesdays and then Saturday nights for the Sunday. So if you are not already receiving the e-blast, you can, and if you haven't received it, you can just go ahead and come here and sign up for it instead of having to call the office. If you are receiving it and you wish not to, you can actually unsubscribe within your email when you receive it. At the top, the menu items up here is our home about. If you notice, the menu items have changed from our old website to the new website, the Love God, Love People, and Serve the World. And just real quickly, the Love God has everything to do from worship and faith formation and our music ministries. Highly encourage you to take a look more in depth to these pages. Our Love People is what we do at Peace Lutheran, how we connect in community with one another. One thing I do want to point out on the Love People page, you will see that we have a tab called Council Updates. This page will have our council reports that come out monthly. There is a password. This is password protected. You will need to email the office or call the office at Peace Lutheran, and they can give you the password. That's the only page that is password protected on this page right now, on this website right now. We have our communication page where you will find our e-blasts, the weekly e-blast, the Sunday e-blast, our weekly video messages, and the newsletters. You will also find our calendar, Peace Lutheran calendar, so you can see what's happening at Peace and where things are at. So just click on the the item and it will give you more detail, and even the Zoom link if there's a opportunity to join in via Zoom. Our Give tab, you can always give online. You can give how you normally give, if it's by mailing a check in, or but you have the opportunity to give online. You can also text to give, and this page will give more detail of how to do that. And then the main thing that I wanted to point out, especially that's different from the last website, the older website, is our live stream. So on Sunday mornings at 10:30, even though Peace is worship, we are worshiping in person. Right now too, we are also live streaming. And you can find the archived live streams, so the services from the Sunday before on this page. So not only on Sunday morning, if you click live stream, you will get the full live stream as it's happening. And then during the week, you can come back and re-watch it if you need to, or if you want to get some more information. If you go over to the scripture side of the tab on this live stream, you will see that we will link the e-blast for the Sunday Worship and Faith Formation e-blast up here, as well as having the scripture for the day. So an opportunity to read that. And then the other tab is the archived of the services. That about has for the new looks of the website. Is there anything else you can think of?
No, I think you did a great job, and I appreciate that we've got a place where I know, again, we get buried in so much information. So if you ever miss out on, an e-blast, or you said, man, I think there was something and I can't remember, as Darcy mentioned, you can go to that calendar page and look for yourself on the calendar, or you can go to that communications page and look at previous e-blasts and pull up that information as well. And Darcy, I know we've also got some more real-time options to communicate with our social media, if you want to share anything about that as well.
We do. So another way of communicating is through social media. So our social media, we have two social media pages. We have our Peace Lutheran main page, which is basically a page where we put especially our live streams services that people anywhere at any time can get to. On Sunday mornings, it will always say, join Peace Lutheran Church for live stream. And you can also come back on this page to view the Facebook Live as well. So you can find it in two different places, the website or on Peace Lutheran's Facebook page here. This main page also has other information that we want to broadly put out to anybody and everybody, to invite people to Peace Lutheran Church and give information about Peace Lutheran. Any events, any scripture, anything that we'd like to do. We have a page called Peace Lutheran private page, and that is specifically private Peace Lutheran congregational group. And this page is specifically for our members who are friends and members who are want to be connected and engaged more deeply into Peace Lutheran. So here we can put pictures and share prayer requests on here. I also sometimes put up the weekly messages that get put out, as well as the ELCA messages that get put out. So this is a way for Peace Lutheran friends and members who want to really be engaged and have an opportunity to support one another, talk with one another, pray for one another.
And if I'm not a member of that, but I'd like to be involved, how do I get involved with that private page?
So when you if you want to type in private Peace Lutheran congregational group, it will come up and it will you will get asked to join. You will click the button that says ask to join, and then an administrator will invite you into that page.
Yeah, and it's a good distinction to know. There are public pages in which everyone can view, and there's private pages that are more about our internal community, and both of them have their function and their purpose. So take advantage of them in that sense and stay connected, because again, I think communication in our day and age in a pandemic, when we don't have our regular rhythms and cycles of coming together and and just touching base. These all become even more important touchstones for us to stay connected to what's going on in each other's lives, to offer up the prayers that we need. That's part of why we started our private page, was to say, man, we're not seeing each other on a weekly basis like we used to. Here's another opportunity to be engaged. And then for our public page, right, for everybody to, whether they're a part of our community or just checking it out, it becomes, we are placed in the world for the purpose of glorifying God and reaching out to the world around us. So we hope that we are proclaiming that good news, not just to our insiders, but also to our neighborhood. And what's cool about some of these digital ways that we've begun to do ministry is that I've begun to see people in different states, and people in Alaska and Nebraska and Arizona and all throughout. And I think there's even some folks from other countries where I've seen, see something. And I just think that we have an opportunity. Digital ministry can be a challenge. We can be overwhelmed by it, but there's also an opportunity to say that, wow, we have a broader range than what we thought. And God's speaking to us in deeper ways. So I want to encourage people, again, to take advantage of that and share that gospel.
Well, what a great way, too, in terms of especially social media. The Great Commissions, go tell the world. And the world is on Facebook.
That's right. That's right. Well, Darcy, thank you so much. Anything else you want to add as far as communications or letting people know how to stay connected in this world today?
Well, we just want to make sure that we are all stay in communication with one another, and to offer the best resources and tools to help you feel connected and engaged.
And I want to thank you again for all the hard work you put into this. I know it's a labor of love, and you put in a lot of hours. And I want to remind the congregation, if you're out of touch, or if you somehow don't feel like you're engaged, man, reach out to us. We're trying to do our best in this time and place, but it's a two-way street. So give me an email, give me a call. Sometimes it's even a tech support thing, and say, hey, I don't know how to do this kind of stuff. We can navigate that stuff together, because our hope is that we're walking together, we're communicating together, we're in this thing together called life.
Absolutely.
So thanks again.
Thank you.
God's peace to you all, and we'll see you next time.